Let's see.
What, I can do that. What do you need just to
Well,
record?
I'm gonna ask some questions and we're gonna list some responsibilities, and I was just hoping that we get somebody to jot those down.
Yeah, I can do that.
You got a piece of, okay, good.
Mhm.
And even though we can see your names up there, just so everybody knows everybody, can we go around and introduce ourselves and tell what club we're from? Because I know Ron's got the list and he knows everybody, but we all don't know each other. So, John, we could start with you since you're in the corner.
Okay. John Kamak, I'm with Telco Lake.
And this is his third time being a president, right?
If you don't get it right the first two, they make you keep doing it. So be careful.
Now that's incentive.
That is incentive. Let's see, move over to Linda.
She's got to
Put it
push her
on
button.
mute.
She's got to push her button. We get.
She's on.
She can't see us. She can't see us. Linda.
Mute button.
I don't think I can unmute her. I'll see. I don't think.
There-
Oh, there we go. There she is.
I'm from Tullahoma Sunrise. I am the treasurer, and this is my second time as being an AG, and so I'm being recycled. Because all good things have a different purpose and different life and time, and this is mine.
And Linda, I can vouch for the fact that you did get it right the first time. So you're not having to repeat because you didn't do it right.
Well, you know, you always learn things the first time around, and the second time should be better. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping for better.
Yeah, we're glad to have you with us.
Thank you.
Becky?
I'm Becky Dotson, and I'm with the Oak Ridge Sunset Club.
Awesome. Ron, we all know who you are. And Brian?
I'm Brian Stoika. I'm with the Seymour Sunrise, and this will be my first time as president.
Wonderful. Ashley?
I'm Ashley Burnett. I'm with Sevierville Sunrise Club. And while this should be my first time as president, our president stepped down about 6 months ago. So I'm sort of treading water at the moment.
I missed that. You took over as president 6 months ago? Is that what I heard?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, well, man, we got a lot of experience in the room, so this really will be a short phone call. Let's talk about, just throw out, what do you think some of your responsibilities are as president?
Well,
Anybody?
keep the meetings interesting and pertinent. And,
So run the club meetings,
yeah, run it in the club meetings.
okay? What about something else?
Motivate your committee chairs to carry out their duties.
Wonderful. How about appointing them? Has that already
Oh,
happened?
yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
You have to make the appointments, which for me is done.
yeah, me too.
How about everybody else?
Mm-hmm.
Brian, you and Ashley got your, well, I guess Ashley's already kind of running the club, but y'all already got your, all the assignments for your different positions made?
Yes, Seymour does.
You've got a lot of great mentors in that club, that's for sure, Brian. Okay, great. Motivate, assign. What else? You know, maybe this will help you. If you think of in terms of preparation, operation, and celebration, those are sort of the things to keep in mind when we're looking at roles and responsibilities. So still in the preparation mode, what should you be doing? What's your responsibility?
Maybe kind of mapping out your year for important events and when your governor's going to be visiting and all those kind of things that you have to plan for.
Yeah, definitely. And can you work in some of the, like the Rotary things that are happening with, like World Polio Day? I mean, that's great when you're talking about mapping out your year. That's really important, and all the district events that are coming up. Because your clubs need to be inspired by you with respect to things that are part of Rotary, but maybe not just your club. You know, I think a president should be encouraging their members to kind of understand that Rotary is not just the four walls, but it's bigger than that. And obviously, we'd like to have a lot of support and interest from all of our members on what goes on in the district and with RI too. So that's good. What else? What about preparation? Anybody working on goals?
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
And when you're working on your goals, what sort of things are you taking into consideration?
Well, in our case, I think the two goals are real easy. We've already started on one of them, and that was developing different fundraisers. The ones we have are somewhat labor intensive, and for a small club, it gets more and more difficult, especially as our club gets older and older. So we're trying to find something that's less labor intensive. So actually, I'm the committee chair on that, but I'll pass that off shortly. But that one's a big one. And then the second one is recruiting, which, you know, frankly, that has to be the number one goal for every club, I would think, because Rotary's just not doing as well as it should in that regard.
Do you think it's the club president's responsibility to bring in new members?
I think we have a responsibility to get everybody excited about it. The good news in our club, we have a committee, which I've been on, and we do a lot to try to find them. It's just keeping them. That's the hard part. Like I told you before everybody else got on, it's we get them, and then there's too much going on in the village, and it's hard to compete with all of that. So it makes it a little more difficult.
Have each of you selected the best person you can think of in your club for the membership chair? I mean, that's a huge role.
Absolutely. But we've had the same guy for 3 years or 4 years. So.
Who else? Ashley, you got somebody that's gung ho working on membership in your club?
Actually, I made a note to myself about that because I don't even know who our membership chair is. I hate to say that. But, I need to find out.
Okay.
That probably tells you that your membership chair isn't gung ho. We do know that part, right?
Yeah, that's sort of, you know, well, I don't want to belittle anybody's position in the club, any chair persons, but that probably should receive a lot of your attention because you really do need the right person in that job. Okay, what else are you going to be doing while you're preparing? Anybody meeting with their board of directors or?
Yes. We have a board meeting once a month. We don't meet the first Thursday at all, but it's typically when we have the board meetings, or this year we moved them to the second, but at 10 o'clock, so we could just go from 10.
Now, how are you all doing with your completion of your board and your selection of the president to follow you?
Like the guy following me is selected and agreed to it. And yeah, we're in good shape.
Yeah, how do y'all, I mean, share with you, how do you all have that set up? I mean, I know a lot of clubs, like for mine, for an example, we have a vice president who's going to roll into being the president-elect, who will then roll into being the club president. So we kind of know 3 years out who's going to serve. Do you all do that, or is it like a scramble at the last minute, or how do you handle it? I mean, when your club officers reporting your club officers is due?
It was due by the end of the year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
A lot of people don't do it, but you should have it by December the 30th. The club elections should all be held. You know, so I think that's something that we could all work on.
So if they're held, do we just how do we let you all know who they are? Is there a place in DACDB for us to put that?
Yes, there
Okay.
is.
Okay. Because I haven't put my goals in yet either. I'll work on that this weekend.
Yeah, how do y'all feel about DACDB? Are y'all comfortable with it?
It's all right.
I'm
John's
glad
up
we
there
have,
laughing.
I'm glad we have a secretary, so that's more familiar with it than I am. 'Cause
You know, there has been a lot of discussion about someone who is maybe a past president or somebody who's very familiar with DACDB, making them like an executive secretary, you know, not that you're paying them, but somebody who can help with that, and not, because we tend to have a kind of a rise and fall with that job, you know. Some people are not real comfortable with it, and unfortunately what happens is the information that really should be put in there doesn't get in. But I don't know, Ashley, how are you and Brian? Y'all comfortable with DACDB? And
Honestly, I haven't done much with it since I joined the club. I have a wonderful secretary who's been handling all of that, and I'm grateful. But I did get in there earlier this week to try to make sure that I knew all the working parts.
does she put in your goals for you?
I believe they are in it.
Okay. Brian, what about you?
You know, I'm kind of blessed in that same situation where our secretary is very familiar with DACTV and typically handles most of the club needs. So I've been talking to him this week about getting our goals and stuff in there this week as well. But that's my own fault. I really need to get in there more and figure this stuff out for myself and not rely on him so much.
It is pretty user friendly, I think. Personally think it's easier than going through my Rotary. No, that's my opinion on that one. Okay, what about some other things in terms of preparation? You know, we keep talking about goals and meeting with the board. Are y'all getting your board involved in your goals?
your goals, is that what you said?
Yeah, are you involving your board when you're coming up with your goals?
Well, I did. I asked every one of them what they thought our goals should be. And honestly, pretty much the two that I mentioned, fundraising and recruiting, were the first two out of everybody's mouth. So for us, it's a no-brainer.
Okay. Anybody
And
else?
I had drafted a few that I thought would be good and sent it to the group and got a little bit of feedback, but mostly they said, sounds good.
Yeah. Okay. Was there anything else when you
Yeah.
talk about preparing?
Yeah. Are you all tying your club goals into your budget conversations?
A budget. Ooh. Or were they supposed to have a budget?
Sooner or later.
Well,
Everybody got a little
yeah,
quiet on the budget.
I think
We're having
ours is in there. It's because our budget honestly doesn't change a whole lot year to year. And because we kept doing the same things, we know about where we are. But some of those, the funding is starting to shrink. So that's why we're starting to look at other things too, besides the workload.
Mhm.
And of course, this year our fundraiser has gone out the window so far. We'll see if we can salvage it at the end of the year.
Okay. Let's talk about maybe operations. What's your responsibility as far as the operations of the club? So we already mentioned, like hold the meetings, run the meetings. Is there anything else?
Well, I think we have to make sure we got viable speakers now. Fortunately, again, we got good committee chairs that do that, and they've done it for a long time, and they're pretty good at it. So I'm blessed there, because in a small club like ours, everybody kind of just pitches in and gets things done. And those
Do you all have
positions-
program chairs, or, I mean, how's everybody else handling the program part of it? Is it president's responsibility, or somebody, y'all take turns, or?
I'm sort of a backup. We have a program chair, but if something falls through, it comes back to me.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, so far that's worked very, very well because it's happened so rare.
We have a program chair and she does a good job. And our next year one is my husband. So if he doesn't do a good job, I'll whoop up on him.
That's great.
I bet he'll do a good job because Becky, he knows everybody.
He does.
That's right.
He knows everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, y'all feel like I like the fact that you feel like having meetings that are meaningful is sort of on your shoulders, because that does affect membership. What else as far as operations? You're going to run your board meetings, right?
Hmm.
How often? I know I'm hearing once a month. Who is everybody else meeting once a month with their board or were?
Hmm.
I will say that since all this hit, most of our membership is older, and some of them are sort of technologically challenged. So online meetings haven't gone as well as I wanted them to. We're working on it.
Yeah, it's just some strange times.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Really strange.
One of the things I'm going to try for my year is we're the Sunset Club, and that's after work, and it tends to be a little bit younger than most traditional Rotary clubs. And I've been reading a lot about this younger generation and joining clubs, groups, because they're a little bit, well, they just don't do it as often as our generation. And one of the things I've read is they like to be doing something. So I think what I'm proposing is once a month for a meeting, we're going to actually do a service project. So we won't meet at our club location. We're going to do some kind of service project. So I picked my service chairperson specifically to a younger member that could help energize us around that way. And I hope it's going to help us with recruiting, because it would be fun to invite potential members to that kind of event, I think, to get them engaged a little bit. So we'll see how that goes. Could flop, could not, who knows?
I think that's a great idea, and I think some clubs are already doing that and have found it to be very successful, especially like you said with the younger generation. Because they like that hands-on.
Yeah, it's a good opportunity to get your families involved too.
Oh, that's a good thought. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah. Do you have everybody got a Rotaract club in there where they are or no? I mean, y'all got Rotaract or how about Interact?
Mm-hmm.
Interact?
Yes.
Yeah, sometimes they're good to get to help out with service projects as well.
Mm-hmm. That's a good idea.
I know Farragut tries to hit them up every chance we get. They have so much energy. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of service projects, everybody got them? Or has everybody had them?
Yes.
Brian, y'all got service projects going there?
Yes, we do. We hand out dictionaries to all the third graders in the Seymour area, and a couple other things too. We are partners with the Seymour Library and the Boys and Girls Club, the local Boys and Girls Club, and we help them with not just financially, but with needs around the community as well. But that's something that I'd like to see expanded during this presidency. Is we're complacent in those same projects that we do every year, and I'd like to see us expand to something different that would really put our name out in the community.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, we do tend to do that sometimes, just do the same things over and over again, or only if all we're going to do is send a check, we just, I found my club sends the check to the same people all the time. And it's kind of nice to branch out there, because there certainly are a lot of needs in our communities.
Yeah, Patty, can we ask Ashley what kind of things that you do, and do you do any of your things in conjunction with the Noon Club?
Actually, we haven't been really involved with the Noon Club. I mean, I think we visit each other's clubs a little bit, but they're both very small clubs.
Right.
So that may be an opportunity.
Yeah, I think it's not, I mean, not, we can't always do it because we may be out there by ourselves, but in a lot of cases, especially like if you take Knoxville, for example, and Oak Ridge with the 3 clubs, it is kind of nice to do joint projects. I mean, you can't do it all the time, but it is kind of nice. And I do see where Oak Ridge does do that, I think, Becky, with the 3 clubs, y'all have various projects.
Yeah, we have gotten pretty good about that. I think one thing that facilitates that is that the 3 club presidents and the 3 club presidents-elects and our district governor, when it was Sue Ann, would meet once a month just for an hour over coffee, and we would just share ideas about what our clubs were doing, or we would kind of plan common things. In fact, we were planning a common social membership recruitment activity when the COVID hit. But next year we'll be doing a major project for a playground in town for people of special needs, and so we'll be working together on that. But I think it's that meeting of those presidents and presidents-elects and developing those relationships and, you know, getting energy off of each other and new ideas. I really have really enjoyed that this year, meeting with that group.
Yes, and we've encouraged our assistant governors to all kind of look toward that next year. I know that John, in your case, Bob Beasley is trying to do it currently with your
Yeah,
area
he's
clubs.
doing a fine job.
Yeah, Bob is really good, and I know that Ashley and Brian, in your case, Breckenridge Morgan, will certainly do that. He's very organized, and I'm sure he'll try to get you guys working together on a regular basis. So.
He's actually got a call set up for.
Yeah. So, you know, I think it's, you know, that's something that's been going on in the district and has continued to grow. And I think it's one of the things that has really made a huge positive impact for those presidents, because, you know, as you all know, we have clubs of various different sizes and various different talents. And if we can get them working together on some things, you know, you get some club members thinking about things that they've never thought about. You know, maybe it's something they know nothing about, or they're interested in, and they just say, well, this is too big for us, or whatever the case might be. But you get some people working together, and all of a sudden you've got some new idea on your plate.
I don't know how long, but the clubs in Knoxville have been having presidents meetings once a month for a really long time, at least 10 years, I'd say.
Yeah.
And you know, not only have we worked on joint projects, but I think one of the best things that came out from that is that we think a couple of years ago started to support a child who could not afford to be an exchange student, you know, because that is an expense on parents, an outbound exchange student, and we actually decided to fund that. But we couldn't have done it. I don't think any club could have done it by themselves, except maybe the Rotary Club of Knoxville, but all went together. And I think we've done it twice now, I think, or maybe 3 times, sent a student over. We felt like that was a better bang for our buck than a scholarship, you know. So and who'd ever thought we could do that? But as a group, we could. So there are lots of things you can do when you're together. Plus, you know, another thing I think is that and Becky, you kind of touched on this, it helps with the bond. I know we're more supportive of each other's fundraisers instead of considering it, you know, like a competition. Now we're much more supportive. All the clubs are. Try to get other members of other clubs go to their fundraisers and vice versa. So it's a good thing to do.
Yeah, one of the things we also hope to come from this is that some of the clubs who may feel a little more isolated might feel a little more part of the team. And I know we have Linda on the line here, and she's at the edge of the district, and she's got a couple of clubs that are really struggling. And I think that getting them all together as a group cannot hurt them at all.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, you know, I decided to sit on these meetings because I've got a club in each one of the criteria for size. And to me, I am learning what other clubs are doing, not just my own, not the ones that I have any responsibility of, what wonderful ideas of sharing. And I think that the AGs that aren't here to listen to this have missed it, because they've missed a wonderful opportunity for that spark to start something new. So I think this is excellent, and I'm hoping that maybe I can, there's a different meeting that I can have with my clubs that might, because there's such a distance, that maybe we can do something on a smaller scale like this that might help everybody.
Yeah, you know, Linda, maybe you might want to send an email to the other JGs, tell them what you're doing.
Well,
It might mean more coming from you than from me, if you know what I'm saying.
I just thought, okay, and like today I sent out a courtesy text to my person that was supposed to be here,
Right.
and I think that's what we're all about. We're to help them, and they're to respond to us, you know. So, but for whatever, I think this has been a wonderful opportunity to hear what everybody's doing. So that's it.
What about paying dues? Is that the treasurer's job? Or is the president's job to make sure those dues get paid?
Our treasurer handles it, and if they don't come in, she calls me.
Okay.
I have
And
to,
do y'all do know that you're going to pay your Rotary International dues twice a year, but you're only going to pay your district dues once a year, right? Everybody knows that.
Now I
Now,
do.
Oh yeah. All right, I'll hit you up first, and then they'll come back out in January with another bill. But the district, I think, isn't it February? She's been sending them out, Ron. I'm
Right,
pretty
yes,
sure our
early,
district treasurer.
end of January, early February, she sends out a bill for the entire year for the dues, so.
Right. It's funny because every year that we'll always have some clubs say, "I've already paid it."
Yeah.
But we find out, no, they paid the semi-annual dues for RI and not the district dues. But just so you know, you'll pay the RI, that'll get paid twice. And I'm pretty sure that Rotary notifies not only the treasurer, but the president and secretary too. At least they used to let all three people know when something's due with the invoice.
That's right. And they let the district governor know when they're not paid after a certain amount of time too, so.
Right. And then sometimes the district governor lets the district secretary know who hasn't paid.
Hey, Patty.
Yes.
I am the treasurer of Tullahoma Sunrise, and let me tell you, I do, you know, people do, they're busy, they do forget, they do need to be reminded with courtesy emails. FYI, if you've forgotten your dues, it doesn't hurt to be nice about it either, you know, and some people just forget. Some people's corporations are paying for them, and it's just a nice, gentle way. As the treasurer, I have never, my president doesn't know if somebody's behind, because usually there's a reason for it. And I hold that very close to the vest so that I'm not embarrassing anybody that might have a family issue at this time. So that's my input.
You're talking club dues. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. And also, let me tell you with it, make sure this year I was done for being delinquent. I never got the email. And that was a difference between my system was not allowing Rotary stuff coming to me. So I think I've got that straightened out, but make sure the emails are correct.
And
Okay.
and that also brings up another point. You as PEs might remember that I asked you for your priority of how you would like to be contacted when I really need to get hold of you, whether your email is best or text or phone. And I would encourage you as presidents to think about finding that out for your club members as well. And it really helped me last week as I was trying to get hold of someone. And when I found out that person can only really be found by text. And when I found that out, myself and the AG were able to get hold of this person twice within a 2-hour period, and we got something taken care of. So that could be something that can help you. And that was new information for me to find out that, you know, you really have to find out what people prefer, because it does make a difference when you're really trying to find somebody.
Becky kind of touched on this at the very beginning when I asked about the responsibility, and and she said motivating. And I hope that all of y'all wrote that down, because I think that's probably the most important thing the president has to do. And it's a tough job. I'm not going to tell you it's not. As I'm sure John can tell you, he's done it 3 times, and Ashley's already been doing it for 6 months. But it'll be something that will be with you for the rest of your lives, and it's something that you will always look back on and really with fondness. I can promise you that. But there is something to say about it. This is just philosophy according to Patty Dockery, and y'all can take it for what it's worth. But there's certain ways you can get people to do things, some that work and some that don't. And I can tell you, if you stand up there at a meeting and say, for an example, district's having a training session on Saturday at 8 o'clock at Mississippi State. Anybody wants to go can. I can tell you, there's nobody in your club going to go. But if you individually say to somebody that you think needs to be there, like maybe your secretary for the first time, you say, hey, I'm going. It's going to be really valuable. You want to ride together. You're going to get them to go. And, half of your job is just showing up. It's just being there and bringing that motivation to everything. Like let it be a joy, because they're going to know that the members are going to know if it's not a joy for you. So just be joyful about the job. It's the greatest job in Rotary. I'm telling you, greatest job in Rotary is to be club president. And that's where everything happens, is the club level, everything. And so we got a lot of faith in all of y'all. And I'm just trying to stay positive. And, you all know all the help you can get from wherever you want it. I mean, everybody, are y'all all friends with your assistant governor?
Yep.
They can be tremendous assets to you, tremendous assets. And of course, past presidents can be. You can reach out to them. But if you ever need anything, that's the whole purpose of the district, is to support the clubs. So just want to make sure you all don't ever feel overwhelmed or don't know where to find something. Just reach out. I'm kind of going to segue into the second part of this, and that is about engaging your members. So I've already talked about a couple of things you can do. Well, we talked about motivating and keeping them involved, and how important it is to recruit new members and have good programs. Becky, you mentioned that you're going to have one meeting a month where you actually do a service project. I've heard of people having one meeting a month where it's almost a social, so they're off site and do something fun. Are any of y'all doing any of that already in your club? Something a little different, like maybe not meeting once a week?
Not at this time. I've done it in the past, and when I was in Florida, we had socials once a month or so. Sometimes not a meeting time. It might have been at night, because it's more fun.
Anybody else doing anything a little different?
We do the 5th Monday, which happens 2 or 3 times a year, as a social at a restaurant or gathering place. Because it's the extra week in the month, and we just party. We party at all our meetings because we're Sunset. We get to have wine.
Rotary should be fun.
When you
And we
have your
do-
socials, do you invite prospective members too?
Yeah. And then once a month for our board meeting, we have a club social at our meeting spot, and we've been doing a get to know your Rotarian as the program. So one of us as a member is the speaker and talks about themselves in a kind of a deeper way than you would get to know them if you were just chatting with them at club meetings. So we do that with a couple of members, and then we stop that and go into board meeting, and people can stay for board meeting if they want to, or if they need to take off, they can. So that's kind of worked pretty well for us.
Go ahead, Ashley.
I don't really have anything to add there.
Oh, okay. It
Well,
looked like
actually,
your
yeah.
box lit up.
Yeah. Well,
Oh,
Ashley,
sorry.
Ashley, you and Brian both have breakfast meetings.
We do.
What are the possibilities of, do you think you could get any interest in any of your members having an occasional evening activity?
You know, we have tried it in the past, and generally, and we've even tried to combine forces with other clubs to do it, and we really haven't had a lot of folks
Yeah.
that showed up. So I don't know how well it would work, and I mean, maybe it's something we could try again once all of this is over. But at this time, it probably is not top of my list because I would hate to plan something and not have
Yeah.
attendees.
Well, yeah, of course, right now, all the rules are sort of out the
Right.
door in terms of some of our options. We are quite a bit
Well, and
limited
I
for
almost
sure.
feel like that'll be extended a little bit too, because, you know, my club population is older. And so while younger people may start getting out beforehand, probably 90% of our club is over 65. So, you know, that may make a difference.
I think that's a very valid observation, Ashley. I mean, I really do. There are going to be people in my age group who are going to be hesitant to get out, and some people aren't going to get out until there's a vaccine. I mean, that's going to happen in some areas, and so you know, we have to be conscious of that as well. So, thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, are all y'all's clubs having Zoom meetings now, or you just haven't met for 6 weeks, like John said? I mean, is that what's happening?
We didn't meet for 2 weeks, but we've been Zooming every week since then. And then the last 2 meetings, we've even had programs Zoom.
We've just started Zooming. We're trying to do it every 2 weeks. But I'll be honest, we had like 8 attendees on Thursday. Again, I think technology is a little bit of an obstacle, you know, for some of our members. So it's hard to have quorum for a vote, or, you know, if you don't have people come.
Yeah, Brian, how about Seymour Breakfast?
We've tried a couple of conference calls, just because again, we have an older age group in our club as well. They worked okay. They've kind of fallen off again. We haven't been doing it every week, but I think availability is another issue. Some of us are considered essentials, and we're not able to break away for that moment. Like I'm still having to go into the office along with a couple other members in our club. So we're challenged right now, to be honest with you, until we can get back to some kind of normalcy.
We all are.
Mhm. It's tough.
Yeah.
Well, and you know, one of the things that we've tried to be sensitive to is, you know, early on, after we canceled PETS, we started talking about how we're going to set up our training. And I heard back from several of you that said, you know, you need to know that we are swamped. Either we have more business than we've ever had because of this COVID, or we're trying to keep our business afloat because we don't have any business. And then you put on the challenge of a lot of people having extra family responsibilities that they didn't have. And so we tried to, I know it seems like we've been training forever, but we did try to spread this out to try to give everybody an opportunity to have some time to get to some of these things. Yeah, I was talking to someone earlier today, and I said, you know, I know for you guys, it seems like this training has gone on forever. You're actually spending less time than you would have if you'd have been at PETS for 2 solid days. It just doesn't seem like that because because that was March, and now it's, you know, and now it's May, and we're still working on this. And you know that the challenges are still here. So fortunately for me, you know, I know that I've got probably the best AG group in the 2 zones. And as far as I'm concerned, I've got the best PE group that we've ever had. So I have a lot of confidence in everybody here, and I was fortunate enough to, you know, that we were able to have PETS orientation in September, and 60 of the 61 president-elects at that time showed up. And I can't tell you how much that means to me. that all of you were there. I remember. And that's really great. And I think that is the kind of leadership that our clubs are looking forward to. So thank you guys.
I don't have anything else to add unless the president-elects have something they want to ask or contribute.
I did want to ask, so do the other president-elects plan on like just getting with your new board members before you officially start in July in a group, or are you just going to wait till July and then hit the ground running, or what's your thoughts on that?
I know in the past, everything's just so up in the air with this virus, but in the past, the Farragut Club has had like a social, usually it was a barbecue at somebody's house that was on the board of directors. They just took turns and everybody brought something they wanted to drink. And we had a pitch in more or less and had like a meeting, a board meeting to discuss our plans and thoughts and input before July 1. And we haven't done it every year, but the years we have done that, it was well received, and it sort of started the bonding that you need to have.
Yeah,
you know, obviously you're going to have to probably do it via Zoom or something, you know.
Yeah, and I think that this year again is a very unusual circumstance. And I guess, you know, my own personal recommendation would be for you to consider having your current board and your board all meeting together a couple of times right away to be talking about what are we doing now and what do we think we're going to be doing when July 1st comes around. And then after that conversation, maybe you want to have your meeting with your own board, but I think you need to be doing that right now. As a matter of fact, it's when I have my notes of my wrap up here for patio, at the top of my list is building your team. And so I definitely would encourage all of you to be working with your incoming board. And I would like to think that your current club president would be encouraging and supportive of having everybody involved in any conversations that you're having right now, because I mean, this is really an all hands on deck situation that we're looking at. And the more people have ideas and share with each other about possibilities, I think the better off everybody will be.
So Becky, run down that list of stuff we came up with.
Oh, goodness. Okay. Well, in terms of preparation, I heard, select strong committee chairs, map out your year, develop goals, meet with your board, consider the goals in light of your budget. First, a few things I wrote. And then in terms of engaging folks for operations, motivating your committee chairs, making sure you have good, interesting speakers, run an efficient meeting, good service projects, make sure your dues are paid to everybody on time, utilize your AG or past presidents as resources. And then Ron just mentioned meeting with current and future boards for 2021 planning. Did I miss something?
Oh, that's a nice job. Ron, I have nothing else.
Well, I think we want to, first of all, let's give Patty a virtual clap for leading everything here. So
Good.
we can't see Brian and Ashley, but we're going to say that they're clapping too. So
We're clapping too.
yes, I know. And again, I want to thank, first of all, I want to thank Patty for facilitating the session. Thank you, Patty. Great job. Linda, thank you for being part of this. And I like your idea about why you're doing this and the value that can come for both you and your clubs. And again, for you president-elects, and Ashley, you as the current president, and however that's going to turn out, thank you for agreeing to serve. Patty said earlier that the club president is the best job in Rotary, but it's also the most important job in Rotary. Everything at Rotary happens from the ground up. I mean, I'm going to tell you right now, if I look at the 1, 2, 3, 7 people on the phone, the least important person on this phone call is me. Okay? because I'm just here to help you guys do the job that you want to do. That's my role. You know, my role is to help our clubs to be the best clubs that they can be. And so whatever we can do to help make that happen is why we are here. So I think that with 5 minutes to go, I think this is great. Thank you all for being a part of this. If you have any questions about what we're doing or trying to do, just make sure you contact me or your assistant governor or Patty or whoever, because you know we have a very sharing district. That's another thing that is one of our strengths as a district. We share with each other all the time, and there's no such thing as a bad idea or a bad question. So if you have any questions or any thoughts, please be sure to pass them on. The other question I got the other day was, what are you going to do about your club visits? And the answer is, I don't know yet, but I'll let you know. Okay.
She's got us on a timer.
That's right. That's right. Well, that's a good way to shut down the district governor. My guess is you might use that for a club visit, right?
Perfect.
All right.
All righty.
Patty, I hope that wasn't painful.
No, y'all were great. I
Yeah.
don't know with Debbie. It must have been Debbie's problem.
Well, I was in on the call the other night, and I can tell you, yes, this was a much less painful. There was no pain tonight. It was a little
Thanks.
bit more struggling the other night. So,
Yeah, thanks for opening
congratulations
it
to
up.
all of you for being part of that. So,
All righty.
all right, everybody have a great night.
All
Have a
right.
great
Good
week.
night.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Good night.